Hello, Richard Tromans here again from Artificial Lawyer TV. Today we're going to have a look at a new access to justice application called Keep.id, designed in the US by a group of students. We're going to talk now to Jackson Foltz, who's going to walk us through the application, and he was one of the co-creators. But first of all, Jackson, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what led to the creation of Keep.id?
Absolutely. And first, just by way of introduction, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak before the artificial lawyer audience. Excited about you all's interest in the next generation of legal applications and considerations. Um, Keep.id came from really the mind of one of the leading homelessness services organizations in Philadelphia, where many of us met as undergraduate students. And that, for us, was the motivation to be so deeply involved, is seeing somebody who is so intimately ingrained in this work of serving those who are in need of shelter, saying that there was a need for secure online storage of the most important documents that belong to people and that really help individuals get their feet under them in society. Saying that there was a need for that has driven a lot of our engagement with Keep.id. So I'd be happy to show you a little more about it today.
Yeah, please do. Please share your screen and let's have a walkthrough. Thank you.
So here we are on the landing page of Keep.id. The idea is, whereas traditional traditional databases for this population, they're called homelessness management information systems. They store information about the progress of individual clients, clients experiencing homelessness, and which organizations they have developed relationships with, specifically for receiving services. Maybe they've opened a mailbox with one of these organizations. Maybe they're regulars at the shelter. The idea is, in these databases, as they are currently, some documents are able to be stored. The true value of them is keeping metrics on the part of these nonprofit organizations. Keep.id seeks to offer access back to the individuals experiencing homelessness so that they have an extra degree of agency, which much research has pointed to is truly an important step in helping people regain sort of a sense that they have a place, an opportunity, and hope in society. And so this is where an individual would land. And if they were looking for organizations or a social service organization, they would click right up here. But we'll click the sign up. So how does it work? Well, an individual would be able to upload their own documents to this encrypted database, this online storage platform that is HIPAA compliant in a way that similar uploading services such as Google Drive, Dropbox, Box are not. The idea is, with the homeless individual's consent, they would be able to upload, the nonprofit would be able to upload the important documents of this individual, as is currently the case. However, the individual themselves would be able to upload their own documents, provided they had access to scanning services, which many free libraries offer. There's research that indicates that many homeless have mobile phones, smartphones, more than 50% in many urban areas. And this would allow them to scan their own documents and upload them to the cloud in that way as well. For the organizations, they would sign up here after inputting their information, and then we'd walk them through our end user licensing agreement, our privacy policy, and then they would review and submit the documents.
Gotcha, gotcha. One question. I mean, some people watching this, perhaps who don't, think about homelessness or haven't considered what it might be like. Can you just explain why it's so important that a homeless person, should have these documents uploaded in a digital format, and why obviously they may not be able to walk around with them. If they're living on the sidewalk or in a squat or on the beach or wherever it is they're living. I mean, why is this so important?
We've seen empirically that, as it turns out, a lack of identification ends up preventing people from even from receiving social services. And all the more we think about our own experiences, applying to new employment opportunities. Some of us, perhaps not, who 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 are engaging with artificial lawyer, but some of us may sign up for government benefits, um, and need identification documents and need um, access to employment letters, birth certificates, other important documents. These things are critically important in a modern society, um, and all the more for those experiencing homelessness is it an issue, um, because with an unstable housing environment, there's the lack of certainty around whether one's identification might be misplaced in between housing situations. If someone's in the unfortunate situation of living on the street, there's no certainty that their ID won't be lost or stolen. Um, and so, not only do these individuals need identification for accessing social services, they need it, as any of us do, to function in a modern society. And
Will
Keep.id puts the agency back in their hand.
Absolutely, and will I mean, have you tested this? Will government agencies accept the digital identity documents that you have on Keep ID if a homeless person needs help from a particular government service, and they say, well, I don't have my paper documents, but I've got these digitized documents on Keep ID. Have you been able to test this? Have the government agency says, yes, okay, that's fine, we will accept this digital version?
It's a great question. We've seen we've seen an increased openness to this in light of the global pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, it seemed that there was more of an emphasis on paper copies. However, in light of developments in recent months, sending uh, uploads, online documents, um, and part of what Keep.id does for the client experiencing homelessness is we're integrating PDF annotation software. There are many incredible PDF annotation providers out there. We've spoken with a few of them, and we're in the process of selecting one in particular um, that will allow our users to manipulate their own documents, sign their own documents as part of this um, dissemination process to the uh, government agencies, to the nonprofits, to the potential employers that they would be interested in distributing them to. So we have indications that the answer to that question is yes, there's a receptiveness.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, just last couple of things before we finish off. Are any of you planning on going to law school? Are any of the team who built this hoping to go on to become lawyers or join legal tech companies or access to justice companies, or will you all be doing different things?
Currently, many of us are tech focused. Um, a few of us on the team are right at the intersection of tech and social services. Um, but early on, we brought on a young, aspiring law student who studied English at Princeton University. His name is um, John Beck, and he is our chief legal officer. He's going to be pursuing law school in the fall. So uh, the answer is yes. Some of us are interested.
Fantastic. And last question. What happens now? So you've built this. It looks like you're starting to get some traction with the agencies. Do you get funding? Do you kind of give this back to the university and let them run it? I mean, what happens next?
What happens next is we collect and organize and analyze the feedback of organizations, nonprofit organizations that are using this. We're also in the process of reaching out to donors for an additional um, philanthropic funding stream for the nonprofit entity that is putting out the nonprofit product. The, the entity is called Team Keep. Um, and we've talked down the road about what it looks like to open up this product to any, not only those experiencing homelessness, although many in these times we're aware um, are more susceptible and at risk for homelessness than perhaps they would be all things equal without the global pandemic. We're interested in opening up the service, but in the immediate future, we're focusing on whether and how Keep.id is useful to these organizations. And we're focusing on refining the product's offerings. That's our next step.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, excellent work. Congratulations. Good luck with the next stage of your journey. And on behalf of Artificial Lawyer TV, thank you very much for joining us. And hope to speak to you maybe in another year or so to find out how everything's gone. Thank you.
Cheers, take care, and stay safe.
And you. Bye bye.